You're listening to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. You'll be amazed at all these wild but true situations that others have found themselves in. Because on this show, you'll hear uncensored, unbelievable stories from the world of real estate. I'm Leigh Brown. Let's dive right in. Okay, friends, you heard part one of Burton Kelso, and I know you've been anxious for part two. I'm so grateful when I have an amazing resource like him to give us so many different insights in different areas. So today you're going to see Burton get a little bit fired up when he talks about email addresses and online safety. And he talks about how realtors can protect their businesses, which means mortgage lenders, you can protect your business too. And frankly, it's always a great reminder of how important it is for us to be our own safeguards online. So dial in for some more information from Burton. He gets a little fiery this time, and I'll see you on the other side. Before we get any further into this episode, I've got some information to share. Hey, y'all, just going to take a quick break from this conversation to let you know about the sponsor of today's episode. That sponsor is, well, frankly, it's me. It's Leigh Brown University. Look, it's no secret that real estate is crazy competitive, getting more so every day. And when the pie doesn't get any bigger, but the people wanting a piece of it do, you've got to figure out a competitive advantage. And that's why I created Leigh Brown University. It's everything you need from soup to nuts, cradle to grave, point A to point B, whatever point B is. Each of you has different goals. So maybe you're a new to the career realtor, or you're a super experienced pro who can't figure out that next level. There's something in my course that's going to help you break through. It's designed for you before I even met you. So enroll in Leigh Brown University today. You go to www.leighbrownu.com and I'll see you there. Now, back to this amazing content. Thank you so much. That is such good, helpful information. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you brought up something I forgot to talk about, the sex trafficking thing. I mean, online, where do you think they're getting a lot of their victims or online trafficking?
We're one of the top hubs for it in Concord, North Carolina, because of the massive Concord Mills Mall. It's one of the hubs for it.
Mm-hmm. So it's Kansas City.
Oof, I won't let my kids go over there unless we know exactly who they're with. The Life 360 is on. It's only certain times of the day and night. And isn't it amazing to you? In 2021, we should be talking about that nonstop because it's massive.
The whole cyber security, cyber whatever thing should be talked about on a daily basis, because the ramifications of everything digital just affects a lot of people. Depression, sex trafficking, bodily harm, stalking. I mean, it all ties in digitally, and people don't really think about it. And the media outlets really should do a better job about it.
They like hot button topics that make people get angry and click. But like we see in real estate, when we're presenting offers for a buyer, the seller wants to go Google who the buyer is. Well, then you've wandered off into fair housing territory. And is the name and are the pictures triggering implicit bias? And so is somebody going to not get their house because of the seller doing some online stalking? And it's not right. And I think we forget that everything is so interconnected, and that's not always the best possible outcome for everybody. Sometimes we should get back to logic.
Yeah, the other thing in your industry, because I go out and do speaking for a bunch of real estate organizations, like I'm trying to think where I'm coming up next. But anyway, the scam, the wire fraud, I couldn't even think of it. And just everything that real estate agents have to deal with as far as educating themselves, as far as protecting their buyers and sellers, because it's not the real estate agent's fault that someone got suckered into a scam. But I think it is realtors' responsibility to educate their buyers and sellers about all the different scams that are going on.
Well, and what we know too is that the FBI won't even get involved if it's under $250,000, and the scammers know that. They also know that realtors are going to be attached to errors and omissions policies, but E&O doesn't pay out on wire fraud unless you've given out all the warnings and disclosures and you've got proof that you warned people. So actually, what is your best advice on that for realtors? How do they get in front of wire fraud from your perspective? I mean, obviously,
it's back to one of the first things you said, don't click on stuff.
Right.
Email, if that to line is empty, I know it's a mess. And so you got to hit that pull down caret there, and you can see a lot of stuff in the address bar if you just click on it. I'm amazed.
Yeah, but the challenge is obviously you go to school to get your real estate license, right? And you're selling homes, you're helping people buy homes, but none of the technology aspect is there. So obviously real estate agents are going to have to get a little bit more cyber aware about at least the scams that are going on. And when you have that initial meeting with that buyer or seller, you really need to establish how you're going to communicate back and forth. Because what if and I've seen it happen to, I don't know how many realtors, and, as far as them getting scammed. So you really need to sit down with your buyers and sellers and say, okay, this is how we're going to communicate. These are the types of emails that you're going to see from me. And if you see anything else, you need to call me immediately before you click on something and get yourself in a world of hurt. Because you're real estate, most realtors are public figures because of their websites. So if I want to take advantage of a large real estate brokerage, I could get on, find all the agents, maybe spoof their email and just start, or hack their email and start sending out messages for wire fraud. And I've seen it happen, I don't know how many times.
It happened to one of my clients this week. She's 83.
Oh.
Clicked on a spoofing.
I shouldn't say that. I'm like, oh, because she's older.
But it was so painful because she's describing to me everything she had to go through. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she said, it occurred to me after I gave my mother's maiden name. And I said, oh my God, honey, you should have known before then, but all right. But by the time it had occurred to her, she had filled out so much on their site. They had been grabbing. And I think that's one of those little interior secrets people don't realize is you start filling out a form. Just because you abandon it does not mean they didn't get all the other fields.
Right.
You've already exposed yourself. And my heart bled for her. And of course, her bank took care of her and everybody else is helping her because she's got a good bank relationship and she made her phone calls. But the pain she's going through trying to deal with it, it's scary because she's already caring for a husband with dementia. So it's just pain on top of pain.
Right. One of the other things I was going to recommend too is for agents to use secure passwords on their email accounts. I don't know if
you're so hopeful.
Well, I know, but the problem is agents will get lazy and use like a Gmail or one of their older accounts. They'll funnel emails into like that old AOL account or that old Google account. And then they use some crappy password on it. And then it gets hacked. And then they store all of this information and wonder why cyber criminals got a hold of their banks and all that. That was the crazy shit story I was going to share.
Oh, well, tell that one now. We can make this a long episode because we've just dived off into some more helpful information.
So there's multiple agents.
Easy to talk to on this. This is your own fault.
Yes. There's multiple agents that I run into that use the same passwords for their email accounts. And so what will happen is that they'll use something that ties to them via social media. And I will tell you, don't think that if you're an agent, cyber criminals aren't looking at your social media accounts. There is so much money to be made in real estate transactions. Cyber criminals target that industry relentlessly. So if you're an agent out there using weak passwords for your accounts, you've got to stop and you've got to use the account for your real estate office and not that crappy old, I should say shitty old AOL Gmail account, and just use your domain, because those accounts, meaning the free email accounts, are easier to get into as opposed to your own domain. So stop it and stop storing personal information in your email. Please, for the love of God, you got to stop.
You're like my spirit animal because I tell people all the time to watch that old Bob Newhart clip, Stop It. Have you seen that? Do you remember that? It's the best ever. But can you just say it one more time for the people in the back that Gmail is not your friend when it comes to your real estate business? And if you have an AOL address, we're totally judging you.
Right. That's exactly right. Now, keep in mind that if you're paying for a Gmail account and you have a domain, you're good. Any free email account, you've got to stop it. And quit using it. Yes, Yahoo. Yes, MSN, Hotmail, Outlook.com, all of it. You got to stop it. You're a business professional. Use your business email and keep personal information out of it.
This is my favorite. You're so calm talking about parent stuff because obviously that's your TV thing. We get you talking about emails and you're like, stop it. I love this. I like this version of Burton. Now you're on fire like that screen behind you.
Well, I think part of the challenge is that on a daily basis, we get people that get hacked. And like I said at the beginning, that 99% of cybercrime requires user interaction. So it's you, not because someone hacked into your device. And I think we probably put it off on, well, someone must have hacked in my device. It wasn't my fault. But no, it was your fault because you did something stupid and now you're in trouble. And who wants to be the real estate agent that has to go back to someone and say, yeah, sorry, I lost your stuff, or your personal information's out there.
That was one of my good realtor friends. One of her clients got scammed through wire fraud for over $100,000 and she just couldn't sleep. And it wasn't even her fault. And she was so distraught over it because realtors get very wrapped up in their client's business, as you know. And that's where you think about what Burton just said, y'all. You can stop most of this by having a better email and then not clicking on the stuff that you get unless you know where it's coming from. And if you're not sure, pick up that trusty phone and call and say, hey, did you send me this? Because if they didn't, then don't click on it.
Same thing for agents talking to their buyers and sellers. That's very good advice. If something comes through goofy, pick up the phone and call. You've got to be available as far as your buyers and sellers. I mean, I'm not saying agents aren't, but at the same time, when it comes to cybercrime, you've got to be a little bit more available, Be
savvy and available. How about that?
Savvy and available is good advice.
There's your new tagline, is just be savvy and available. And you're only one Google search away from everything you've ever done. And stop it. This is like Burton's T-shirt slogans of the day.
Yes,
I'm thinking
exactly.
There's a side business here, and we'll put some superheroes on the back too. And then you'll have a side business. Your 22-year-old could run the Etsy shop because she's
right
for that. We got a whole plan here.
Oh, that's too funny. I love it.
Okay, so this is fantastic. We're just going to have to put all these things together. This might actually wind up being 2 episodes because we have all the real estate kind of advice. And then we need to talk about the parenting stuff on every channel because that's so important right now.
I agree.
I'm so grateful to you.
I got one last story and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
So how long have you been in real estate?
21 years, almost as long as your stepdaughter's been alive.
Okay. So I've been in business it'll be 28 years this year. So I don't know if you remember when MLS was on floppy disk, where you...
I came to the book and then we went to the green screen. So that was a big transition from the book to the green screen.
Right. So remember, if you got a new computer, you had to find the MLS floppy disk before you could do anything. That was my job when I first started going in the business, was you had to find out which agent had the MLS disk, because agent so-and-so would get a computer. Well, I want to be able to use MLS online. So then it's like, well, don't you have the disk? Nope. So then I would have to hunt around to find out which agent had the MLS disk, and it was horrible.
And we couldn't burn discs back then so easily. It took like half a day if you wanted to copy it. And by that time, you were doing something else.
Right, exactly. So you get it.
Oh my gosh. So I was cleaning out my house the other day and I found a whole bunch of those. Were they 3 inches? Not the old 5s.
Right. The 3.5s.
The Daisy Basic. So I still got some of those discs too, but I got those 3.5s. And I was like, there's probably some good stuff on here. And I don't have any way to access it anymore because that was before the cloud.
I'll have to come visit you because I actually still have a 3.5 disc floppy reader. It plugs into the USB port.
You come anytime, as long as you bring your Commodore 64 and we can play Mouse Hunt, because that was my favorite game where we had to go get the cheese. You remember that game?
Yes, of course. Yes. We're dating ourselves, And then
your boys can play Switch with my son and our daughters can sit by the pool and talk about us and it will work out just fine.
That's right.
Oh, I appreciate you. And I can't wait to tell Tracy and Stacy that we have another friend in common.
Yes, it's awesome. I love this. This was fun.
I thank you for coming on the show for 2 episodes, and I'll make sure we're going to cut 2 intros. And so, friends, if you miss one, you're going to have to come back for the other one because Burton's got lots of information to make your life better, kids safer, real estate business savvier, and frankly, save you from the bad Google search. So Burton is all things to protect you, but he's going to tell you to stop it. There we go.
Stop it.
I appreciate you. I'm going to look you up in Clubhouse, and I look forward to further connections.
All right. Take care.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
As always, I'm so super thrilled that you joined in for more crazy shit. And if you're a realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular human being who happens to have an unbelievable story that you need to tell the world about, or well, you just need to one-up the story you just heard, then make sure to DM me on Instagram at Leigh Thomas Brown, or tweet me at Leigh Brown, or frankly any social network where you hang out. I'm there. And if you had some fun, then you totally want to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.